So now that we're in the wintertime, I could talk about how to properly winterize your vehicle. And what I like to do first is change the oil and oil filter. I like to write on the bottom of the oil filter the date and the mileage if your odometer works when I changed it, especially if you have a lot of vehicles. It can get a little confusing trying to remember when you change the oil. Top off all the fluids, top off the brake fluid, top off the coolant. If you run a water, make sure you drain the water out the block if you're getting below freezing temperatures. I run an antifreeze and I run a 50-50 mix. Make sure I put the battery on the battery charger or trickle charger and I disconnect it. And it only charges whenever it needs it. So right now it's off since the light is green, or whenever it needs to charge it, it'll get red. Another thing too, make sure you put your car on jack stands, get it off the tires, because you had a chance of getting flat spots on the tires. I like to put my jack stands underneath the front control arms and underneath the rear end. And what that does is put the car on the suspension. So um, if you were to put the car on jack stands and put the jack stand underneath the front subframe and underneath the rear, if you what it does is it'll pull the front nose of the car down, which will so if you were to open this door up, the gap will actually get tighter up here, and you have the chance of chipping your paint, and especially if you have worn out pins and bushings. So if you open your door up and were to lift the door up and down, and you had play, your pins and bushings are wore out, and you can wear out your door latch and your striker that way. So I would recommend replacing the pins and bushings, and sometimes depending on how bad they are, you may have to replace the hinge if it egged the hole out. Another thing too, fuel stabilizer. Fill the fuel up, fill the tank up, and put on fuel stabilizer in there. Run the car, let it circulate throughout the engine, throughout the fuel system. Sometimes you may have to drain the car depending on what fuel you're running, like E85 that tends to gum the car up. If you run an electric fuel pump, you can even shut the fuel pump off, let the engine die. That'll drain the fuel bowls. If you want to drain the fuel bowls out, take the carb off and drain it that way. But if you had the stabilizer throughout the system on pump gas, you should be fine with leaving it in there. Another thing too, make sure you put a good coating of wax on the car. Use a good quality car cover. That always helps, keeps a lot of dust out the car, especially if you have a garage where the door opens up pretty often. Another thing too, depending on how much spring pressure you have on your cam, you may have to loosen. Might be beneficial to loosen up your rocker arms. Helps your springs last a little longer. That's always beneficial. I mean, it only takes a second to loosen them all up and then adjust the valves when it comes springtime again. So that's another good tip. But those are just a few things I thought about, maybe helping you guys properly winterize your vehicles. Hope it helps.